Welcome to the second shoot down for this afternoon, the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am here in London, Kentucky. This is the Senior Pro Shoot Down. Your fifth place qualifier, shooting for Martin, from Vinton, Virginia, Richard Leftwich. Your fourth place qualifier, from Atala, Alabama, shooting a 402 with 10 bonus rings, shooting for Martin, Ellen Connor. From Keller, Texas, shooting for PSE, a 404 with 10 bonus rings, Michael Braden. Your second place qualifier, from Columbus, North Carolina, shooting for Mathews, a 406 with 12 bonus rings, Bill Mccall. And your number one qualifier, shooting for Botech, a 420 with 14 bonus rings, from Provo, Utah, Tim Gillingham.
Well, Christine Harrelson, Greg White joining you here. Tim Gillingham walks his way to the field, and since joining this class after our first round in Foley, Tim Gillingham has won 2 of 3, Christine, and he has been really a shock to the system, I think, in the senior pro class.
That's one way to put it. Oh, gracious. He's always been a strong shooter. So it's not exactly a surprise that he's doing well in Senior Pro.
And let's talk about Shooter of the Year. We talked about it at the top of the show. Where do we sit in Shooter of the Year for the Senior Pro class?
Tim Gillingham has a pretty hefty lead with 25 over the second place person, which is Michael Braden. But now between Michael Braden and Tony Taza, who is in second, there's a much narrower gap. And that could be the difference between just one single shoot, because that's only 12 points right now.
Mm-hmm. And for Shooter of the Year here in ASA competition for the Senior Pro class, $5,000 for the winner, $3,000 for second, and $2,000 for third. So there is money on the line, but more the prestigiousness of saying that you're 2019 Shooter of the Year.
Everybody's here to win.
Everybody's here to win. You can see Tim Gillingham's lead in this one. So we'll see if anybody's going to get aggressive and try to close the gap. There's a look at Leftwich. Richard Leftwich, 21 years as a pro.
It's a long time to be playing this game.
He's 2003 ASA Classic champion. Richard Leftwich. All right, so first one, going for a 12. They're taking a closer look at that one.
I think it's going to be just out unless he's got some kind of magic line pull. But we can't see it. You just never know.
No.
You can see that it's bent, but is it touching?
10. Yep,
Just
good
off.
call, Christine. So for Tim, he goes aggressive, going for that 12. Why not if he feels like he's got a good judge?
I couldn't imagine him doing anything else, honestly.
Now, Christine, with the shooters that we have, Tim Gillingham, Billy Mccall, who's got a 10, Michael Braden, Alan Connor, and Richard Leftwich, there's a mix of how people judge. We talk about ground judging and we talk about target or animal judging.
That's right.
Describe those two for us real quick.
Some people will step up to the stake, look up, straight at the target, and then bam, that's going to give them a feeling, that's going to give them a number. Let's say that number is 50 yards, and they go bam, 50. Then they might even use the ground to second that judge and say, okay, there's 10 yards. Okay, that's where I think 20 yards, and there's 25. Is it really double that? And they'll use both, and some people will just use the ground and very little of the target itself.
Part of the challenge we have in these first 3 pro classes, the women's pro, the senior pro, which we're watching now, and of course men's pro coming up after this one. Now, Christine, what is your preferred method of doing it?
I look up at the target and I get my initial judge. That's usually the best one, and then I verify by using the ground. But keeping in mind, with something like today, it was very dark. You can see the ground, but everything's going to look a bit farther away than normal, so you have to keep that in mind when judging.
So in this class, judging it, I can tell you today that the seniors were on a very difficult range. It was very dark on the side of the range that they were on. So Tim Gillingham, I think, to be able to shoot 14 12s says a lot about the level that he's shooting right now.
He has years of experience, but he's got years of practice under his belt too, so he knows where the scoring rings are. He doesn't have to see them. He already knows where they are.
Bill Mccall, Columbus, North Carolina, 24 years as a pro.
And lucky to be alive, and we're happy to see him here.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was but a couple years ago when he had his accident falling from a tree, and he was in the hospital for a very long time. A lot of people didn't think he was even going to make it. So
yeah, that was 2017.
That's incredible.
And 6 months after falling 40 feet out of that tree, he won ASA Foley. So
there were tears in eyes on, I assure you, that day.
Such a good dude. A lot of fun to be around.
Like someone hit the same hole. That is so close. Ugh, just off.
That's a heartbreaker right there. But you can see no line was pulled. Oftentimes in ASA archery, when we're looking at 3D, we talk about pulled lines. Tell us about that.
I would love to clarify that. The arrow is tacky. Almost everyone's shooting a carbon arrow. It pulls the foam or the rubber as it goes into the target, and that visible line, whether it's 12 or 10 or 14 line, can distort. Now, you do not get the higher value unless the line is touching the arrow. It has to be touching. So there's no pulling in and it got real close. That doesn't get the points, okay? It has to be touching.
Billy Mccall, big cheers from the crowd after that 12. So Mccall trying to make some moves if he can on Tim Gillingham.
And the wind is just picking up, so even if you have the perfect yardage, it doesn't mean you're going to hit the ring.
Well, that's the other thing that's really tricky about this course, I think, Christine, is the fact that the wind is coming in, but it's not necessarily coming in from a direction that's definable.
Right.
Feels like it's swirling a little bit, doesn't it?
It is, and then it just dies. But you can be at full draw, and you feel just a little bit of push and knock you off your aiming spot. That's not a lot of fun.
A lot of 12s we saw in that round. There's a look at Tim Gillingham and his shot process and what he's up against. You can see the ease of that release. And you want to talk about Erin McGladdery and her draw length. Forget about it.
Then you've got Tim Gillingham on the other side. I mean, what does he shoot, like a 600 grain arrow? I mean.
Yeah, that's right, because he gets to, you know, it's speed here in ASA competition.
It is.
I mean, there's a speed limit.
There is.
And so when you have that kind of draw length can really help with your speed. Longer draw length, everything being the same, faster arrow speed, which means he's got to slow it down somehow.
That's right.
He's either got to start cranking out poundage on those limbs, or like you're saying, just
what
load
a
up the
burden
front.
that must be.
Yeah,
oh, poor guy. Gotta shoot a heavy arrow.
Yeah, well, I gotta shoot a heavy arrow.
And there goes our backdrop with the wind. So that picked up. But he sure looks steady on camera to me. Oh, and there's a wind gust coming through here, guys. If they let down, I would not be surprised.
Tim went for it. He went for it. If he called
Upper
upper,
12.
he got it.
You see Michael Braden now. He's trying to stay on target, no doubt. Yep, and he decides to let down. That was a good call. They still have 30 seconds left on the clock, so he's got time to reset. Like I said, if they start letting down, it's just probably a great idea. Oh, and look at him. He just, whew.
He gave a little bit of English, but it looks like he got it.
Yeah.
If he didn't call the upper, that upper and lower 12.
And this is Michael's second draw. And it looks like he's just short on the turkey.
That might have been a judge. Now, we're looking up in the sky, Christine, and there's just crazy clouds here. So not only did it just get windy for a moment, now it's completely still.
I know.
But it kind of has that feeling that there's a little bit of moisture somewhere in the air here.
That's right.
So trying to avoid some of this rain could be critical. All right, so.
Nice.
So Alan Connor, lower 12, gets it. And again, once we get to this fifth arrow, if Tim Gillingham has a lead that's over, or anyone has a lead over 10 points, they'll be declared the outright champ. But if someone's within 10 points, we're going to go to a sixth arrow, which to me, Christine, as we look on the field off camera here, kind of looks like it might be a javelina.
That's what it looks like. It's laying down over by the fence line. And that is nobody's favorite. I don't know anybody who gets on the course and says, yeah, I hope I get to shoot the javelina in the shoot down.
All right, so Bill Mccall with a 10. Yeah, there's the javelina. So that it's leaned over on its side now just in case they need to use it. I almost guarantee, I'm not guaranteeing, but I almost guarantee when we get to the known pro category with the 2-point lead in that one, we're probably going to see that javelina come into play.
Not only that, I mean, it can come out here in the next shoot down, which is Open Pro.
No doubt. Michael Braden.
Now he took his time. He let down.
Settles into that anchor point. You can see he used a four-fletched arrow.
That's right.
Just a choice.
Right. It's just personal preference. If you feel like you get more stability on a 4-fletch versus a 3.
You can see he wasn't happy with that one. Tim Gillingham called the upper 12. I just saw him motion.
Got it.
So Tim on the right-hand part of your screen with the Bowtech jersey on towers over the rest of the field on this one. How tall is Tim? I would say he's probably 6'5".
I don't know.
6'5", 6'6". But he has quite the wingspan.
He does, and he's up on the turkey now, I believe, one of the shorter targets.
Always a smile on Bill McCall's face. Those close to him call him Billy. Gave me permission this
Shooting
weekend.
great.
Call him Billy.
That right there, I believe, was Tim's. Look at the turkey. Oh, and he went for the 14 and got it.
Wow, good shot.
Now, was that Michael Braden? Or
Yeah, I think that was Michael Braden on one.
And he got it, I think.
He did.
What a shot.
That can be a bit of a tricky shot, especially when you have those other two marks there. So he did a great job to ignore it.
I'm going to have to say that it was probably an advantage for him to, at least he had some markers in the white.
He knew exactly where they were.
To aim off certain arrow holes can be actually an assistance. Oh, that's too bad. Now we have someone going for the 14 on the Bless Buck.
Yep, that was Connor, by the way.
Okay.
Leftwich.
He just had a little too much on his judge, but broke a great shot.
Yep, so that'll be a 5 for Leftwich, who was trying to make a move. Trying to work his way up into that 4th place spot.
It's just a little closer than he thought.
And it's Tim Gillingham on the Howling Wolf at a 12. Continues to pull away.
Gracious.
Okay, and Tim decided not to shoot the last arrow.
We heard jokingly, we're not sure, that Tim's decided not to shoot the last arrow. Is this true or not?
Well, Tim's currently getting heckled from the crowd to shoot the 14.
Why not,
He's got a
right?
big smile on his face.
Here's Bill McCall, the North Carolina resident, on his release.
He took an aim at the turkey and he hit that 12.
And
Great shot, and you see it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
All right, so Tim Gillingham is on the 5th target, which is just off camera on the right part of your screen. The crowd was
still heckling
him, telling him, go for the 14, go for the 14. The 14 on the turkey, Christine, not the easiest 14 on the field.
No, absolutely not. It's black. It's tiny. The actual 14 ring itself is very, very small.
But Gillingham right now has a grin on his grill that I can see from here.
He does.
Something you often see in the senior pro class, shooters putting on glasses to make sure that they check out their marks are good.
Turning binos around.
All right, that's a good pro tip right there.
There you go.
Yeah, for the known pro older, it's the rangefinder. Just turn that thing around. All right, so
there's
a
a
good look at Bill
lot
McCall.
of chatter on the field right now. They're having a great time. Look at this. Take a look at the crowd. They're having a good time watching this shoot down.
There he is, the big
Tim.
stairs, Tim, with a big smile on his face. Obviously with a monumental lead, 16 points at this point.
He's doing math. He's considering it. He's finding his aiming spot.
They're trying to goad him into it.
They are.
So if he goes for the 14 and shoots a 5.
And look at him right now. Look what he was doing. Did you see him moving his head from side to side? He was marking spots on the grass, so he was looking at yardage on the ground, double checking his yardage on this target.
Your would-be champ, Tim Gillingham, going for it. Does he go?
Oh, what a flinch. But listen, he does it. He can
did he pull that line?
He went for it. Oh, my gosh.
Energizing the crowd, Tim Gillingham. That's very typical, by the way, that flinch.
I'm 90% sure he got
pulled it
at 11 o'clock, the 14 ring at 11 o'clock. Because, when you have a 600 grain arrow and it's 27,
McCall in with a 10. So it's time to score these arrows and see how they did. And the drama to build to if Tim Gillingham won with a 480.
Right.
Or not.
This is good fun for the crowd, though.
It's great
I love
fun.
this.
Yep, a 10 for Bill McCall. That'll take him to 460. The closest, obviously, to Tim Gillingham, so Tim didn't have to shoot that last arrow. And Michael Braden with a 10. That'll move him to 53. Alan Connor is trying to go for that 12.
Looks a little short from here. I'm not sure. Oh, that might be good. Let's see.
Don with the call, and it's a 12.
And by rule, he now has 13 bonus rings and breaks the tie with Michael Brace, your third place finisher, by 1 bonus ring.
All right, so what we're hearing is
Wow.
that Connor actually has more bonus rings, which will break a third place tie, because Braden had a 10 and Connor had a 12, so that would take them both to 53. So Connor will actually move up in this one, and
Look
now
at the close up on the turkey on Tim's final shot. I
he
think
got
that
it.
looks like it. I think he
got it.
broke
There's
that
not even a
line.
question.
All
Here we go.
right.
It's a 14 for Tim Gillingham. Puts the stamp on it.
Yeah.
The crowd dictating the shot that Tim Gillingham takes, and he will be crowned the Senior Pro 2019 Mathews Pro-Am Champion.
In style.
In style. Wow, Christine. I just felt the gust of wind that came blowing through here. That was cold air.
It was. That means we've got a system coming our way.
So Tim Gillingham is with our PJ Riley, so let's get it to PJ.
Tim, they talked you into that 14 and you delivered.
Well, I was going to do it anyway. Yeah, I had nothing to lose, so you might as well entertain, right? Or
They're
try to.
chanting here, listen to them.
I just didn't want to choke.
Or tell me about the weekend. I mean, yesterday you were at the bottom of the leaderboard, and then today you just blew up.
Yeah, I was 4 targets to go yesterday, and I was still only 2 up, and just trying to be patient, and it just wasn't happening. I'd either misjudge by 3 or miss a shot, and I made a release switch last night, and I don't know. I just had a little bit of issues. I shot a couple zeros in tournaments with the release, and just not real comfortable on it, and that kind of let me relax a little bit today. And even at the half when they broke, I was still only 6 up today, but I had regained the lead at 12 up. And then I just come out after the break when the rain cleared and hit 4 out of 5. So that put me in a good commanding position. It's always nice coming into the shoot-off with that. And then you just hope you got the yardage right. And I just come out here, and I don't know, I just looked at every target, and I felt like I had them. So.
All right, Tim, congrats. Great win, and your 3rd ASA win of the year.
All right, thank you.
All right, congratulations to Tim Gillingham, of course, who is going to be our Shooter of the Year leader as we head into the final round of competition, the Classic, coming up here in about 5 weeks' time. All right, with a good look at Richard Leftwich and his release, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we're going to come back with one of the top classes here, Men's Pro, Levi Morgan, the only repeat shoot-down shooter for 2019, entered in this one. You don't want to miss it.
This is how we like to do it.